Hello, hello. Okay, for YouTube people, I apologize in advance. Or YouTube and Twitch people, I guess. I apologize in advance because for technical reasons that I'm also streaming on TikTok, I can't have a webcam right now on both platforms at the same time, and I can't even turn off my webcam on TikTok during the live. So, wait, where's the text? So I'm gonna have to just studio mode here. So I'm gonna have to just stream without the webcam here. So we are trying to open the, oh, there you go. The tracker map is here. And trying to keep track of everything else going on. So this is not ideal. I have to handle the size of the different windows on TikTok at the same time. So they are, how far is this? What is that? Like, they're about like 100 kilometers, which I don't know how much that is in nautical miles. Is there something on like a constant just countdown number would be convenient to have here. Okay. Is there something happening here? There's no sound coming from this. Did they get attacked? 54 nautical miles, roughly, then. They're roughly at 50 nautical miles, basically. We can't hear the conversation here, so we don't really know what's going on. It seems like they're having a discussion about what to do next. All the other cameras are off. Give me a sec. I'm gonna have to do something else. Put this down here for now. And yeah, there's not much to figure out. Let's see what the Telegram group says. So this is from, I'm just gonna open it here. Message from 40 minutes ago. We've detected 20 plus unidentified vessels on our radar just 3 nautical miles ahead of our fleet. This may signal a potential naval blockade, but let it be clear we will not be intimidated by threats, harassments, or efforts to protect Israel's illegal siege on Gaza. Updates will follow. Okay, so we just need to wait for the updates that they say will follow. In the meantime, let me finish setting things up and eating as well. Stream element. Okay. So no one here in this, the Captain Nikos, the one live stream that we have running, there's no audio and not much information happening, but clearly no one here is like an IDF Navy person. Alma has been boarded from what I've seen. That's not on the, wait, give me a sec. Is that on here? That's not on there yet. Where have you seen that? Calling to the void. Device no response. Okay. I might also just do a open the same page just so I can have access to the chat, the same video on my other screen. Um, and it looks like everything is down. That is not a good sign. Me is not in this here. I don't understand what they're doing. It will change absolutely nothing, and they just look like fools. Well, Alza style, what they're doing is they're the only people at the moment who are trying to get some food, who are actually like physically trying to get some food, and everyone else is talking about stuff. Um, Everyone else is trying to discuss things or complaining about the fact that they're not being let in. And these are the only people who are actually just taking food and going there. And the point of that is they know that they're likely to get intercepted. They know that they're likely to get arrested. But every time they get arrested, that is more evidence that Israel is deliberately starving the population in Gaza. That's the point of what they're doing, is getting attention to the fact that yeah, and it is like super ballsy because people have already been killed by Israel in similar circumstances years ago, and every single time they try again, the odds of that happening, especially with a fleet as big as the one that they have right now, go up because right now there's a lot of room for mistakes happening, and also the possibility that it might not even be a mistake, and for Israel to just make an example out of a boat and just sink a boat and kill everyone on board. That is entirely possible. They've killed people in similar circumstances before. So saying they just look like fools and they're ridiculous is kind of missing the mark here. From what I've seen getting my feed, it was just media influencers doing that. Well, yeah, that is, they're activists. Their job is to get attention on things. Their job is to get people to talk about them. So yeah, they are influencers at the end of the day. But I mean, it's the same thing with the, even if you don't like the aesthetic of what they're doing in terms of, like, a different example would be some of the campus protests from a few months ago. Is there was a lot of cringe stuff happening at the university protests, but they were still right. And even if you don't agree with every single person doing the thing, the fact that they're doing it is more than what most people are doing in a case like this. They're getting arrested for terrorism. I mean, we'll see. Still no audio on this live stream. But yeah. And there are some elected politicians there. There's like, what, 500 people on the flotilla? So the problem is they can't tailor their message to every single person. And some people will would have wanted them to do something differently. So yeah. Seems like basically all of the streaming boats have been broken for a while. Can I just... This is not the same live stream. Go here. Okay, this is the one that I want to open. So mute and read the comments on this one and see what pops up. Okay, I'm going to try to keep up with the chat here, but people in my live stream chat, if you can tell me if there's anything that I'm missing, that would be helpful. You have full audio? So why do I not have full audio? Huh. Do I have any... Yes, I do have audio working on some things. So... In a different stream, okay. Can you link me your stream, please? Also, the other thing that's not helping is that I don't have desktop audio activated on OBS, but that isn't a problem because I didn't have any desktop audio happening anyway. Okay, there's another boat here that's back up. So which is the one that they were saying was... The Alma, they were saying. So the Alma is grayed out here. So it is entirely possible that this one indeed was already intercepted. Catalina, same thing, grayed out. We don't know what's happening to it. I'll check my Discord DM to see. Okay, we are going to have a streaming buddy coming on. Keep me company here. Is this different live? Triion News. That's weird. Why do they get sound and I don't? Let me just see if I can refresh the page. Wait. So this definitely had sound. Okay, wait, that was sound? No, never mind. Okay, I'm just gonna stick to this stream, and I'm gonna be speaking anyway, so having too much sound is gonna be... it's not muted here, but weirdly enough, there's another link that's able to get the sound. What I can do... This, maybe? Yeah, this is super messy.
You can hear all and Italian speaker. You are the only one on live streaming. All the other videos, inshallah, it was not the moment where you were kissing. Ya Allah, hopefully it's not that moment. Because all the other cameras were on. By the way, they tagged Louis, but...
Okay, this is messy. Very loud, you say. Let me lower that. No, this is why. Okay, is that better for YouTube? TikTok. This should be manageable. Okay, and I'll just raise it if it needs to be. Hey, sees the memes. Okay, well, I guess we will just keep an eye on this for now, and we'll read the 20-point plan a little bit later. What happened to the Alma? I was on the live when it seemed they were getting arrested. Any updates? I wasn't on the live when they were arrested. I heard that they were being arrested though, so I know literally as much as you, if not less. I'll be right back. Leaky food. Okay, in the meantime, because we're just monitoring things happening right now, they are okay. The Alma is okay, Sarah? So what's the thought about Spain, Italy, and the like pulling back their ships and turning them around? I'm more surprised about Spain than I am about Italy. I kind of expected Italy to pull either something like this or to kind of pressure the flotilla into giving them the, like, initially as soon as Italy deployed their ships, I think on the first day they were telling the flotilla, hey, give us the aid and we'll take care of delivering it. And the flotilla didn't trust them, so they just didn't want to do it. I'm more surprised about Spain because Spain had very different rhetoric when they deployed their ships, to the point where the contradiction between what happened last night and what they said when they deployed their ships seem way more humiliating than what Italy was doing, where they were kind of vague about their goals. Wait, I'm gonna use.
Hello.
Give me a sec.
No worries.
Okay. Now I need to activate virtual cam.
Oh, I don't have my camera on. Should I
You
go
don't have your
grab it?
camera on. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna turn my camera off then. Okay, so regulars of the stream will recognize this voice as Triion. Triion, say hi to everyone.
Should I should I introduce myself yet again for
Sure,
like
go
the
ahead.
1000th time? Hi everyone, I'm Triion. I'm a Bulgarian IT engineer and licensed psychologist, although actually not licensed anymore
Oh,
because I
did you
haven't practiced it
lose
in
your
5 years
license?
and I haven't renewed my license.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't work it. So I'm no
So it
longer
wasn't for
licensed,
like
although graduated.
professional failures or anything like that you lost it.
No, just I haven't worked in the school system in 5 years. And when you do that, you have to go pay a small fee and relicense, but no reason for me to do it right now. Also, I feel like I should mention it. As of about 2 weeks ago, I am officially a party member here in Bulgaria. I'm not elected to anything. I'm just a dude, but I'm affiliated with a party. So if
What's
anybody
the
hates the mildly leftist We Continue the Change party in Bulgaria, this is your chance to talk shit about it.
what's the
Uh,
corruptometer of the party you joined?
Low, but probably not zero. I shall say, well, no strict evidence that corruption has happened have been presented, but let's say that even I who have joined have my suspicions. So that's what we're doing. We're picking the least smelly turd over here in Bulgaria. It's going very well.
Picking the least smelly turd. Yeah, that sounds like a way to do it.
And that's where we are. Bulgaria is having its own mess, but we are not the star of the show today. Is it okay if I straight away go into the comments because I wanted to address something about the Italy sending ships situation?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'm gonna be eating in the same time, so I'll mostly just listen to you.
Enjoy your food. Enjoy your food. I think it was Ricardo who brought it up, but one of the things about Italy sending these ships, and I am very annoyed that this did not get sufficient coverage over the last it's been going on since last Monday. a lot of unions in Italy are on strike right now, an open-ended strike for support of Palestine. Italy didn't send the ships because Giorgia Meloni found some empathy under the fucking couch pillows.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
It was a case of, oh, my citizens are getting real pissed off. And especially in Milano, there have been big strikes. I don't know a lot about it because A, it doesn't get a lot of coverage. So I know it by talking to other union organizers around Europe. But yeah, the ships were sent because the citizens were angry. And it's not exactly a surprise they pulled the ships out because they did their performative, look, guys, we're definitely listening to you action. Also, admittedly, Giorgia Meloni is the crazy far right, so she probably has some feelings about Israel for all the wrong reasons. So she was probably appeasing her own voter base with that move. But they were never going to commit. When it comes to Spain, they probably got pressured by the US. That seems most likely. Like Stan explained it in a short earlier. I don't know, but at least the rhetoric of the Spanish government has been very much so.
Yeah,
I guess I should say in the correct direction. I don't know how to express it.
I hadn't checked, but apparently Spain has officially recognized that this is a genocide. So yeah, that does put them
Oh, we
on
have
the
we have a
better side of
country
history
doing
than
so.
most European countries. That most Arab countries. When you look at the map, I guess I can just pull the map up. Let me reduce this window here. Give me a sec. This is a little bit messy. Global recognition.
I can hear a vessel.
It's gonna be like Malaysia, some Arab countries, and maybe Spain.
Yeah, I mean, there's more. There's more than I expected. It like none of the no NATO countries basically. Maybe Turkey.
No, please, guys, stop trusting Turkey with this.
I know that I saw a different wiki that had a map of this.
Oh, look at the speed that guy's going at.
Meanwhile, because there hasn't been a stream in a long time.
Very low.
Chad, before the Israeli denial force proceeds to do some crazy shit, how have you been doing?
He's deciding which.
Okay, I have the map up here. So, look at this. Blue is disagree.
Oh!
So that leaves the UK, Germany.
A lot of the
Poland, Italy disagrees despite the fact that they sent their ships. Obviously, Israel, Greece. So most of a big chunk of Europe and the US. Then there's defer to the ruling in the ICC case that South Africa filed, and that's Canada, Australia, Norway, Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands. This is not a completely unreasonable position to take. It's just a cowardly position to take because when so many other credible experts have come out, you can say basically you could take a position that's more like we are siding with, on the preponderance of evidence, we think that it's more likely to be a genocide than not, but if the ICJ finds otherwise, we will revise our position. But instead of that, they're just doing the, we don't have a position until like 10 years from now when this case comes to an end. Then you have the agree, so that's Mexico, big chunk of South America. Spain is the only European country to be in the agree category.
Ireland.
Ireland too, yeah, that's true. Ireland, Spain, most of North Africa, South Africa, which makes sense because they filed the case, a few other African countries, most of the entire Middle East, actually, except for Israel, of course. And then you go to Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, China. Oh, I'm surprised that China actually declared it. I would have expected them to be either unclear or defer to the ICJ. And then some Southeast Asian countries.
What strange bedfellows.
It's, yeah, that's the thing is, like, there's so many. The Sirius has been boarded. Do I have a Telegram update on that? Nope, still no Telegram update. Where are you getting the fact that the Sirius has been boarded? Because it's nowhere on the live streams again. I don't think there's any issue in my lifetime that has made weirder bedfellows, stranger bedfellows than the Israel-Palestine situation, especially since October 7th.
I wanna to show this.
But yeah,
Okay,
so I was reading the what I was saying before I went into the map is that I was reading the statement by the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez from a week ago, from when they sent the ships, and they were making the points that they were there to assist the flotilla, that they wanted safe passage and safe and like the right to sail freely in the Mediterranean for the flotilla, that they wanted their international law to be respected in this case. And the fact that they're saying we want international law to be respected can sound like a very vague statement, except for the fact that the UN has already said that the flotilla's mission does abide by international law. So to me, that was a clear statement that Spain intended to stand by the flotilla under international law, that they would be able to deliver the aid. And to be very honest, any European country, probably any actual nation state, but especially a EU country, sending a Navy ship with the flotilla, they most likely, almost definitely would not be attacked while being live streamed. They wouldn't need to do anything, they would just need to be there to guarantee that the flotilla wouldn't be attacked by Israel, because Israel is already isolated enough as is that they probably would just go like, fine, they can drop off the aid and then leave, and we're not going to bother intercepting them. The only reason that they're bothering to intercept the flotilla is because there's no nation state involved, they're not going to have any consequences for it, so they don't give a shit.
Another thing to mention is that as much as Israel is famous for its connections with like the US, a lot of their business interests are EU focused.
Yeah.
So even if Cyprus decides to attach a dinghy to the flotilla with a camera on it, they probably wouldn't dare, because if you piss off enough EU citizens, the countries will have to act. And if that happens, well, they can blame someone else for the bombing of the flotilla, but who the fuck is going to trust them? Because does anybody trust them with anything? You know, if Benji shows up and tells me the sky is blue, the first thing I'm doing is checking, because that sounds oddly fishy. That's where we are these days. So
Okay.
this is why Spanish actions are disappointing.
I'm just checking here on the list, and I'm seeing either I didn't scroll down enough earlier when I was checking, or things have changed dramatically, because earlier there were only 2 ships that were grayed out in the sailing category, and now it's
more.
about a third of them, maybe even half.
Also, I should, like, I am telling you a rumor on top of a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but there were mentions earlier today there is a ship with jamming equipment within the blockade vessels.
Yeah,
so there is a chance they're just getting jammed, but I don't have any capacity to confirm if this is true.
I heard that just in previous incidents, like before they were being, before the Navy ships came to escort them, they were having radio jamming done to them. They also had their Starlink internet connections hacked and tampered with, so that's not surprising at all.
They have Starlink backups, so even if the Starlink gets attacked, they have different methods to keep connected.
Which, by the way, it's extremely ironic that Starlink is the one providing their internet connection.
Oh, come on, what are the odds that Elon Musk hates Jews? Right? He was raised in South Africa.
Yeah, but funnily enough, but the
Apparently
problem is
Zunas.
Starlink doesn't really have any competition. So Starlink is also providing all the internet connection for the search and rescue ships doing, helping with migrants in the Mediterranean. The search and rescue ships that Elon Musk said are criminals.
I think I've talked about this on stream before, but Starlink does have competition. The European Union has been launching satellites. Well, ESA, the European Space Agency, has been launching satellites for a project called Galileo,
Yeah, well,
which
is
essentially
Galileo
aims to be a
working
public
and
Starlink.
functional at the moment or not yet?
It's supposed to start working March of next year. I know tests have been made, but it's definitely not functional for this type of use at the moment. Or was it Copernicus? It was either Galileo or Copernicus. One of those is the starting, the other one is a maps alternative. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
really
grayed
hope
out ships all of a sudden.
in a bunch of different ways. I really hope the EU gets their shit together and manages to actually launch services like that don't depend on the US because
What
it's going to
does
be a
what does
problem
legal
increasingly.
support mean on this tracker, and why have the two ships changed direction? Do we know?
The legal support, I guess, would be like
Ships full of
as
lawyers?
we have ships full of lawyers basically there to maybe observe or they I don't know this for sure, just pure speculation because I haven't asked myself this question until now. But it's possible that they might have UN observers on these ships. No idea. Uh, but yeah, that's why they're not with the rest of the flotilla.
Also, another thing that to go back to the previous topic about the Spanish decisions, that another thing that comes to mind is none of the countries within like the EU or the US just asked the Palestinian Authority if they will give entrance to the ships to Gaza, because de jure speaking, legally, the Palestinian Authority is in charge. And since they've recognized them as a country now, should probably just ask them. It won't do a lot, but it would be at least a symbolic, hey, Israel, can you fuck off?
Say that
I
again. Sorry, I was checking on some technical stuff, so I missed the middle part of your sentence.
What I was saying is that from all the countries that recognized Palestine as a country, none of them have asked the Palestinian Authority if they will give permission to the flotilla to go to Gaza. Because that's whose permission you need, at least de jure speaking, at least theoretically. Or by
Yeah, but I
international
mean,
law, the Palestinian Authority are in charge there.
first of all,
If
not
they give
really.
permission,
Palestinian
yes, of
Authority doesn't
course,
even have
completely not really.
but I mean, even de jure, not really, because Palestinian Authority rules over the West Bank that does not have any coast on the Mediterranean. So it would be Hamas that they would need to ask the permission from, and I think Hamas are quite busy with other things at the moment.
Mildly preoccupied, if
Yes,
still
exactly,
living.
mildly preoccupied with other things at the moment. So I'm not sure they would reply to that email asking for authorization.
Imagine they do, and 15 years from now they get a response. Yeah, mate, we're busy that Tuesday. Ah. Oh, did
Oh,
we just get jumped? No.
they haven't really moved since
Oh,
we started the stream, right? They're still roughly
I
at
think the map
260.
is just struggling to update. Also, we don't know at what speeds they're moving.
Yeah.
Ooh, now I want to address something in chat. Sees the meme says, unfortunately, EU is all about free markets that don't provide public alternatives. You might not have been paying attention, but the EU has been slowly, it's not exactly public, but been providing support for European companies to make very essentially cheap alternatives to some products available to its citizens. Now, usually not things that they go in direct competition with big American companies, but for example, the EU funded a digital, essentially healthcare dossier app in Bulgaria that's fully free, and you can check all your medical stuff and stuff like that on your phone for nothing. And other stuff like that. If you want, Eurotrust is a different example, which is essentially Eurotrust lives off the European Union these days, which is essentially a digital signature app and stuff like that. And the so-called digital euro thingy that is being discussed to high heaven, which would essentially be a public bank account everybody has in the European Central Bank.
Yeah,
The
let me just
EU, it's not out of any particular good-heartedness, by the way. Yeah, go ahead.
quickly interject off topic, but I just noticed a dono from Uncle Steve from about half an hour ago. I don't know if Uncle Steve is still watching, but thank you very much. And yeah, I'm having an okay month. So today has been complicated, but the entire month overall has been pretty good. So I'm doing well, and I hope you're well too. Thank you. Back to you, Triion.
No, that was my thing. I'm saying that the EU is doing some. Do you think a new banking alternatives? That's what the digital euro or whatever we're gonna be calling it is supposed to be. It's not exactly a banking alternative, but it's essentially a very free bank account you get with the European Central Bank, and you don't have to rely on any payment processors like Visa to use your money. Is it gonna be like, I know that at the current proposal of the plans there will be limit, I think, of about 2,000 euros you can hold in that bank account and stuff like that.
So
But
just answering a couple of questions in TikTok chat, what's the status? So if you look at the list of ships right now, all the ones that are grayed out here are the ones that are very likely have been boarded. And that's about half of them. That's not great. And someone else is asking, is Turkey still with them? I don't know. I don't
No.
think anyone is with them right now. I think they've been on their own for the past 24 hours. Apparently, Spain continued to follow them from a distance. But I think a couple of hours ago, even Spain effed off and went home. So yeah, no, they're completely on their own right now.
I know there are. I know several countries are keeping their ships close to Cyprus. Like not just Spain and Italy, but essentially everybody has ships in the Mediterranean. Is currently keeping a few ships around Cyprus.
Isn't is
Yeah.
Cyprus where there's a British military base? I don't remember
Yeah,
if it was in Cyprus or if it was elsewhere. I think it's in
it
Cyprus.
is in Cyprus.
That the IDF flies a bunch of stealth flights from, like, flights that don't appear as IDF flights, but they're IDF flights.
I don't know enough about that to comment. But there is two British military bases in Cyprus, and that seems the most likely. Yeah, but you are right. It doesn't seem like there has been any movement on the tracker. Now we have a lot of grayed out ships.
I think virtually all the ships are waiting to be boarded, basically. I asked earlier, but some Muslim activists attacked the Sumud Flotilla for including gay and trans people. Faith is fine, but this is just bigotry. Well, yeah, of course. That's the thing. That's what I was saying earlier about the Palestine issue attracting the weirdest bedfellows. Because, yes, you will have more than just like Muslim activists, but like quite radical Islamists. Yeah, quite radical Islamist activists who have nothing in common with human rights activists, who are just as active on the pro-Palestine beat as the human rights activists are, if not more. Then you'll have neo-Nazis like the Nick Fuentes and like Candace Owens is basically a neo-Nazi influencer at this point, who are there for their own reasons. The Marjorie Taylor Greens of it all. And then you have the human rights activists, and then you have the people who kind of discovered this issue recently and made it their whole personality. So because they don't really have any politics outside of it, they're kind of fine embracing all of the other insane people. And that's the problem that I have with the pro-Palestine thing. Is like, I'm pro-Palestine for very clear and very obvious human rights issues, but I am not particularly interested in mingling with people who are against human rights but pro-Palestine for their own completely different issues. And I'm I understand why some people, even some people who like know what they're doing, prefer to close their eyes to that. But I have, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So the fact that the flotilla just went ahead with it and just like didn't care about the criticism, I guess, is a
That's the
mark
only
of
correct
like is a
decision.
positive point for me.
Also, I want to point out something because sees the memes says just Google it. There are many Islamists who say gay people on the border attacking Palestinian culture. The first three sources when you Google this are in this order: the Jerusalem Post, the European Conservative, and then the BBC. I guess the BBC has to get in there. This is the type of story that I don't know how much of a big deal it is. Because, hey, I'm not a big fan of fundamentalist Muslim radicals, but if I'm doing something to help some people and they want to shit talk me, I can fuck off. Uh, so be careful which people signal boost these type of things. Also, pretty much all the ships have gone gray on my screen, by the way, Stan.
Is this who's on the?
Nah,
Is that IDF? No, I don't think so.
no.
No, it doesn't look like. Okay, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. Also, it would get pretty obvious when the IDF rocks up because they're gonna flash the gigantic searchlights.
Rose is
On
asking, "What are we watching?" We're watching the flotilla trying to reach Gaza as they are likely going to be intercepted, and about half of the ships seem to have already been intercepted.
or at least jumped, but intercepted seems most likely.
Wait.
Oddly enough, I don't know why they're not updating the status apart from graying it out.
Wait, what it sees the means? What are you referring to when you say that's Greta Thunberg resigned from the org? Which org did she resign from? I wasn't aware of that thing. Still no update in the Telegram chat. Maybe there are some Twitter updates. Sorry, X. From 7 minutes ago, our vessels are being illegally intercepted. Cameras are offline and vessels have been boarded by military personnel. We are actively working to confirm the safety and the status of all participants on board.
Yeah, they're most likely all going to get intercepted.
Yeah. At best.
If you zoom in on the map, you would see that all the ships at the front of the flotilla have been grayed out.
All these. This one, the Adara is not grayed out, and that's the first one.
Oh, yeah, you are right. When I refreshed, it was fine.
Is this red light? Oh, that's gone. Man, I mean, Spain didn't have to do anything.
No, they just had to be present.
I was reading about it earlier from a legal point of view. Exclusive economic zones are not restricted to navy ships from different countries. So
Well, you should probably phone it in first, but yeah.
yeah, I don't think phoning it in to Israel would have been something they were happy with.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I
But
still
no, as
don't
far as I
think
know,
that
you can
Israel
sail
will start phoning.
in exclusive economic zones. You do have some restrictions on what you can do there, but you can sail through it as long as you don't enter the actual territorial waters, which is like 12
Yeah.
nautical miles. Spain
How
could
long
have
you can
just been
fire
like,
a
"Hey,
cannon?
we have a patrol boat that's sailing with the flotilla. We're just there as monitors. We're, you know, we're just observing what's happening, and we'll perform rescues if needed." And just stay there until the territorial waters border, and that would have been so much more helpful. The statement that
Stan,
yep,
zoom up the live stream. Something's happened on the top left camera.
top left
There's
camera.
people raising their hands.
Okay.
I don't know which ship this is.
I think it's the no, it's not the all-in ship. Don't know which
It
one
might
it
be
is.
the Aurora. Well,
Okay.
there's a big red thing standing the Aurora. Also,
Yeah,
they're
Aurora.
changing
There's two
course
cameras on the same
very
ship. This
fast.
person is this person. So yeah, these are two the same. Okay, so these people have been boarded now.
I
The
believe so.
the thing that made me the angriest when I saw the statement by the Italian Prime Minister when they announced after they withdrew from escorting the flotilla is after they left, they said, "Oh, by the way, Israel, you should let them through because the flotilla is not a threat to Israel." And I was like, "Yeah, but Israel is a threat to the flotilla. That's why you were there. That's why you were supposed to stay there." And the Aurora's gone. Okay, well, that's it for the Aurora.
Italy, after shooting down drones for 2 days, guys, the people you've been droning don't seem to get back to you.
And I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the
I don't
Aurora's
even
gone.
think they have been shooting down drones. Like as soon as the Navy
I,
ships arrived, no more incidents that I saw reported anywhere. And I don't think it's
as far as I
because
know, it
they
was
were shooting down
four
drones. I
times
just
where.
think it's because Israel didn't want to do any of that shit while the Navy ships were there.
Of course, you're not going to attack people with the navy present.
Yeah, no,
But
of
as
course
far
not.
as I know, four drones had to be shot down.
Okay.
But
I don't know how to
now that I'm
pronounce this
googling
name.
it,
Zvergiev is asking what happened. What happened is the Aurora is being intercepted, has been boarded.
best we can tell.
Their stream is back up, but yeah, earlier they had their hands up.
Also, if you pay attention to, I don't know what you call the steering wheel of a ship. It's rotating a lot without anybody controlling it, so there is a chance that they might be being dragged or something.
Ah, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Somebody who knows more about naval anything than me, get in here. Gray, are you here?
Wait, which one is being
Uh,
dragged? You say?
yeah, I think the Aurora is being dragged because if we can see on the top left camera there, again, I don't know what a ship steering wheel is called.
Yeah, it's too
It's
dark to
rotating
see.
a lot.
Ah, yeah, I see.
It could be the waves, but if it is the waves, why is nobody holding it? Why is nobody actually controlling the ship? Because you can see
Yeah.
they're all just
Ah,
sitting
okay,
down.
okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. This thing here. Wait, can I do something on the TikTok live stream? I do this. Ah, capture cursor. Fly. And now, yes, okay, now my cursor is going to be
Oh,
visible on TikTok as well.
wait. I think we just saw one of the searchlights flash past the Aurora.
Yeah,
There was a big beam of light from outside the ship
yeah,
that
for
showed up.
sure. Yeah, we're seeing it right now.
Which definitely indicates that they either being boarded or I think the ship is just getting like, I don't know, dragged away, taken over, whatever the operative term is. Unless somebody on that ship has one hell of a flashlight. No, it's coming from the outside.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, okay. They've been intercepted, probably getting towed. And they're back with their hands up.
And somebody's talking to them because they're looking at something.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the question I was gonna say is one ship gonna make it through, but probably not, because Israel has has more tracking information
They
than
have
we
a
do, so
sufficient
there's no
navy
way.
and coast guard.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so basically now almost every ship has been intercepted. There's even one of the no way this one has been intercepted. They're super far away. Apparently, even one of the legal support ships has been intercepted.
What? The Israelis breaking international law by intercepting people who are outside their zone of control? No,
So
never.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ships out of 50 that haven't been intercepted yet. Isn't the Spanish ship there? No, the Spanish ship left. Spanish ship left last night. Apparently, the Spanish ship continued to follow them for a few hours until this afternoon, but then they left.
That was... I think we briefly saw on the Aurora's camera either a flare or...
yeah, let's see, 9
or
out
a
of 50
searchlight.
have not been intercepted yet. Or either not been intercepted, or maybe out of some of the 41 that look like they've been intercepted, maybe some have just, like, we've lost tracking. But, we can assume that all the ones that we've lost tracking for have been intercepted.
I have a question for Seize the Memes in chat. My guy, why are you harping on about this? In all of this, in this situation, do you think that it matters that there is a few gay or trans people on the flotilla? And that some Tunisian gave money for aid.
On the flotilla, and that 2, there are a few homophobes on the flotilla and transphobes on the flotilla. Like, does it matter either way? Not a fan
The
of
goal
transphobes,
is the same.
obviously. But if you're gonna have 500 people who are not there for being queer rights activists, it's not surprising that a few of them are transphobic, especially in an issue like this.
Also, to state the obvious in case somebody's missed the point, do you think Hamas is very gay friendly? They are radical Islamists. They're not gonna be too happy about this, but I suspect that the Palestinians who might get food, if this flotilla manages to get to port in Gaza, I think they're really not gonna be inspecting any genitals that day. Do you feel like maybe you're kind of misrepresenting, you're not entirely trying to harp on something that is completely irrelevant to the matter at hand?
So it looks like both legal support ships have been intercepted as well. So it's cool because they will have access to lawyers, because the lawyers will be locked up in the same
That's
cell.
what will be with them, yes. Now, neat. I guess who represents the lawyers? What?
How close are they? How many hours to land? Well, they're not gonna get to land. I mean, they're gonna get to land under arrest. So yeah, how close are they? They've been stuck at about 50 nautical miles for the past 2 hours, for the past hour.
So yeah, to my point, Seize the Memes. I'm to assume that you're asking this. Okay. I'm gonna assume you're asking this in good faith. But on occasion, you should consider that ignoring things that don't matter is more efficient and more useful than thinking about them too much.
That's reassuring.
Yeah. There being some transphobes and some gay people on the same flotilla, not even on the same boats, trying to help people from not starving to death, is about as relevant as what I had for breakfast this morning to the situation in Gaza. Except one group of people is trying to do something, and I had breakfast this morning. Oh, did we just straight up lose signal from the Aurora? Did some
Ricardo, what do you mean by
Israeli...
the zone? Do you mean the actual Israel territorial waters?
No, the exclusion zone is announced, I believe.
Oh, I'm not sure what the exclusion zone. How many miles is the exclusion zone, Andrea?
However, Benjamin Netanyahu feels like this week. But it's supposed to be where Israeli territorial waters end, but they expand it and shrink it whenever
Okay.
they feel like it. I think a few months ago they announced they're expanding it so much that it would have affected the Suez Canal. So they had to really backtrack that one real quick. But also, you know what? Like I should probably. Oh, what the hell was that giant light over there? Yeah, the Aurora is certainly boarded, or just being towed.
I mean, we could assume that there's an entire fleet of military ships surrounding them right now. So it's not even the lights that we're seeing aren't even necessarily the lights of the specific ship that is intercepting them, because they're probably each of them is probably surrounded by a bunch of ships.
Yeah, that checks out. But anyway, the joke I was gonna make from a comedian whose name I don't remember, which is unfortunate. What? Oh, yeah, they're filming something, so there's a ship there. Like, back in the day, if you wanted to be a terrorist, you had to pull in hella effort. You know, you had to go get trained by a secret cell in Pakistan. You had to sneak bombs left. And nowadays, you just sail on a ship. That's it. Israel announces you're a terrorist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just go fishing in the Caribbean and you're a terrorist.
I Chad, you wouldn't know, but Stan asked me to try to figure out where that was. And now I know how many US military bases who can deploy drones there are in Florida and in the Dominican Republic, and I did not need that information. But it's too many. I have no idea where that boat was.
In
For
a
all I know, it
different
was the Bermuda Triangle.
Citrus Boy saying in a different live stream, they said that the flashlights are for communication between flotilla ships or communication between
Oh,
IDF ships.
that could be, but they don't seem to. Because, like, if you're gonna use flashlights for communication, you would be Morse coding each other.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
And
or
I
you could
don't
just
see
have
a
like
lot of
very basic signals as well. There's 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. The All-In, the Captain Nikos. Do we see that one? No, yes. Captain Nikos is here. The Florida and the Free Willy.
But yeah.
Davke is asking how much time before they reach Gaza. About 500 years. The boat in the Caribbean was carrying drugs. No, so the thing is, there were 3
We
boats
don't know.
that had airstrikes in the Caribbean. 2 of them plausibly yes, one of them probably not. One of them they said it was carrying drugs, but the evidence seems to show that we don't know for sure that it was not a criminal boat. It could have been another kind of criminal boat, like human smuggling or whatever. But as far as we can tell, it wasn't drugs, because basically it's a small boat. The first one that was struck on September 2nd was... All 3 of them were really small boats. The other 2 had 3 people on board each, which makes sense if you're carrying drugs, because you need the boat to be as light as possible. So you're going to have the minimal possible crew there to maximize how much drugs you can carry. The first one that was struck on September 2nd had 11 people on board, and they do not need 11 people on board, so most probably they weren't carrying any drugs for that one. Does that mean it wasn't some Trendearaga boat? Not necessarily, but the fact that they had literally no evidence, the U.S. government showed literally zero evidence whatsoever that it was a criminal boat, makes me assume that it probably wasn't.
Also, I think the bigger problem is that any possible evidence at the moment is at the bottom of the ocean. So there wasn't a trial, there wasn't a court.
Yeah.
You know, like this conversation started when the United States started just like drone striking random people in Afghanistan.
Mhm.
I would wager against it. Most of them were probably terrorists.
I mean,
I
they drone
don't
striked
know, but
weddings, they drone striked, they killed journalists. Basically,
Up to-
the term, which is funny because we now use the same term to refer to migrant boats, but the term that they had as their standard for something that would justify drone strike was if it's a military-aged male, you can go ahead, and that's basically any male. Like
between
90%
the
of
ages of
people
16 and 50.
that they would see would be like, oh, it's a military-aged male, and if they were like jogging, that was definitely a drone strike material because they're like training to be Al Qaeda or something. So they were just like drone striking anyone and everyone in the Middle East. And the fact that they're using similar kind of rhetoric and similar legal justifications of anti-terrorism drone strikes to strike drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean, which, like, it's smuggling drugs is a crime, but it's a crime that you get arrested for. It's not a crime that you get executed on the spot for. Mohammed Bar was also intercepted. I think every boat was intercepted except, yeah, still the same four. Free Willy, Florida, Captain Nikos, and Olin. Yeah, this one also being intercepted right here that we can see on the bottom left. Are Turkey drones still with them? I don't think so. Turkey boats definitely aren't. The drones probably aren't. Probably aren't either.
From 18 minutes ago, according to Al Jazeera, Israel is intercepting the ships. Unfortunately, their source is the same tracker we are looking at the moment, but there is some chance that they know more than we do.
Triion, are you looking at my stream or are you looking at the tracker? I mean the live stream.
Both. Interchangeably, I'm looking at both.
I'm gonna stay
No, I'm not
live.
looking at the live stream. I'm looking at the... Oh, we have confirmations on the map of intercepted ships, by the way. The Adara and Alma have been flagged red for intercepted.
Okay, let me refresh this. Can you go? Can
So
you
has the
rewind
Sirius.
in the live stream? And so someone was asking, can you please tell us what the sign the Aurora put up said? Can you try to go back in the live
Yeah,
stream to see
I'm
what that
on
was?
it. I'm on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have any idea exactly when they put it up? Oh yeah, I see when they did. 1 second. I don't know how readable it's going to be.
Okay, I had mistaken information based on the ships being grayed out. Yeah, I was wrong about 4 ships not being intercepted. There's still a bunch that are grayed out, but a lot less than before since I refreshed the page. So there's 1, 2, 3 that have been intercepted for sure. And I would assume that a lot of the others have also been, but they haven't been updated yet. And this is making me think that the legal support boats probably haven't been intercepted after all. Which is
likely they were
weird.
jammed first, intercepted second.
Yeah.
And I don't know what jamming weapon one would use these days. So the sign that Aurora put up is not that readable because they put it up right into the ring light of the camera. But I'm pretty sure the last words are love and then assuming the name of somebody. And before that, the word above does seem to be Palestine. So I think we can make the guess that it's something like Free Palestine, but I can't really read it.
Okay,
because
so
of the
apparently the
light
video
into
quality wasn't
the.
good enough to read the sign for.
No, there was just a light into the sign, so the top half of the sign is just reflecting the light that was shined into it.
I guess it probably just said Free Palestine or something along those lines. Um, in TikTok chat, someone is asking why are the army ships not with them? If you mean the Navy escort
Because
ships
our
of European
governments are
countries,
pussies.
because they gave up. They backed off last night.
I am pretty sure that the last three words on that sign were like Palestine and then below it, love Aurora.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have no way of reading it because light straight onto it. I've put it in chat for you, Stan, if you want to look at it or put it on stream.
Yeah. Let me have
But
a look. Yeah, I'm not
the
gonna be able
screenshot
to.
isn't the
That I
best of
literally can't
quality
read that.
either.
There's not even a point in me putting that up on screen because I literally
It
can't
looks
read
a
it.
bit better on my screen because they compressed from the screenshot, but yeah. No, they're definitely intercepted. Pretty much all of them I can.
I mean, most likely within an hour, most of these are going to be read.
I mean, at this point, it's just a question of when we get a confirmation rather than if they have.
Yeah, they still haven't really moved in the last hour. So I would assume that there's a difference between they've been stopped, they've been boarded, and there actually have been like towed and taken away and intercepted in that kind of way. So the flotilla still hasn't moved since we started the live stream. They're still about the same distance, about 100 kilometers, 50 nautical miles from Gaza. I would assume that none of them are moving any further than this, even if they technically haven't been
Oh,
intercepted yet. My cats are hungry.
if you refresh the map, and I'll hold you just
Yep.
for a minute so you can go feed your cats, and you click on the Alma and see where it got intercepted, how far back it was when intercepted. There is no way anybody has gotten past the blockade because look how far away from the current points the interception started. And so yeah.
Cat. Yes, you're putting daggers in my back.
Oh, the Israelis have released a video. Let me find
The
it.
Israelis what?
According to Al Jazeera, the Israeli foreign minister released a video purposely showing an Israeli Navy vessel telling the flotilla to change its course to the Israeli port of Ashdod, where they will be undergo security inspection. Sure, it will, buddy. But the global Sumud flotilla refused. Let me just find that video and then see if I want to punch a person. Probably yes, but. No, when I Google it, it just refers back to the article where I first found this. So, yeah, never mind.
Okay, I'm going to. What's this? I'm gonna feed my cats while we keep on watching.
And the Telegraph have an article from 2 minutes ago confirming that the flotilla has been intercepted. I can't read it because they have a paywall and they can fuck off with that.
Oh, there was a cargo vessel I saw around sunset.
So the good news, everybody, is that the cameras are still on. So at least we know that the Israelis haven't decided to massacre the people in the flotilla, which is something to work with. Oh, Stan, are you here? Somebody is DDoSing the flotilla website.
I believe you. That does look like a big one.
Big time. Amazing. So, chat, can you tell me if you refresh the Sumud Flotilla website, if you can access it? Okay, is it just me? Oh, it's back. Okay. So probably not a DDoS, probably a bunch of people hopping on to see what's going on. Okay, well, what's going on is the Israelis are committing a genocide, and there goes Stan's chance to monetize this lifestyle. But you know. By the way, hi TikTok chat. Unfortunately, I cannot see you all. So if there are any questions in there, you're gonna have to wait for Stan to feed the kitties before we can answer those.
Okay, I'm back. What were you asking?
Yeah,
What
welcome
what
back.
did I miss?
The Flotilla website briefly went down,
Yeah, I heard
and
about
being
that.
the paranoid person that I am, I assumed it was a DDoS.
But what were you
But
just saying
it's
right
back
now
up, so
about
I'm.
waiting for me
I
to come
said
back?
that I cannot read TikTok chats. I was letting the people on TikTok
Okay,
know that you have to come back if they have any questions.
got it.
Speaking of which, do they?
Does TikTok chat have any questions? Let me check. How far did they get is one of the questions. Did they onboard yet? Yes, they did onboard. How far did they get? They're about 100 kilometers, 50 nautical miles from Gaza.
I guess
Then
further than last time is
Willy
the best
Willy
we
is
can
asking,
say.
how do we start researching about the depths of a subject? That's a very broad question, and I guess the main
Ooh.
answer is you don't start researching the depths, you start researching the surface, and then little by little you go deeper. I guess that's the
Okay.
best answer I have.
Can I tell a story about this? Maybe it would help, maybe it won't.
Sure, go ahead.
So I don't know how many of you heard, but at this point, about a month ago, some girl in Scotland, there was a video of a girl in Scotland pulling a concerningly large knife and an axe on a person. And then the story turned that this person was harassing and stalking the girl in question because he's an immigrant. And usual suspects, the Tommy Robinsons and the wankers of this world came out and decided to racism the person filming the video. The problem was that that person was Bulgarian and thus not very black, so it's a bit of a challenge to racism them. They found a way, but you know. And a friend of mine asked me, okay, how do we research this? Because what my friend had done is Googled it and went on Reddit and found a bunch of people on Reddit talking shit, and then found a bunch of memes. And I guess the answer to your question is when you Google this type of things, avoid sources that you're not sure of or that are not official. So the first step is find something resembling an official source. And then the second thing is check if there is any reason for that official source to lie to you. And from there on, the guidance is go with your gut, mate. I don't know.
I think that's good advice. Honestly, this is a lot of people would disagree with this, but I would disagree with them that Wikipedia is unfairly criticized as an unreliable source. If you want to do like really in-depth scholarly work, then Wikipedia is not going to be enough for you. But if you want to have a more than average, like an above average understanding of a situation, start with Wikipedia and then go from there. And Wikipedia is always going to have like the main article and like 50 other articles within that one. Not everything on Wikipedia is going to be absolutely correct, but you will have a better understanding of a topic just by going off of Wikipedia than 90% of people who usually just go off of bullshit they see online.
Yeah, no, Wikipedia is a good show. I usually it is pretty reasonable to go on Wikipedia and then check where they got certain sources from,
Exactly.
and
Like someone is saying
that's a
in
pretty
TikTok
solid
Shack,
start.
Wikipedia always has footnote links. You don't always need
Yes.
to look at the footnote links, but if you are curious about something, like very often I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And the first thing I think of when I think that is interesting is look at the footnote source for that. And oftentimes either the footnote source is going to be a little bit dubious or unclear, or it's going to give me more interesting information about the thing that I thought was worth pointing out. So yeah, Wikipedia is a great starting point every time you really want to learn about something.
Well, it's a great starting point if you don't know anything about the subject to reference or to work with. And if you're diving into something you completely don't know about. And from there on is a question of trying your best not to fall for your own bias, which is more of a challenge you would think.
Are they being boarded by the IOF? Yes, they are being boarded by the
Yeah.
IOF.
I highly doubt that the Egyptian Coast Guard gives a fuck. And they're the only other people with jurisdiction over there.
Oh, the tracker's down again. I honestly, I don't think it's a DDoS. I think too many people are refreshing the
Too
page.
many people are checking because, yeah. Is it 429? Network.
Which, like,
Refresh.
the website would
No,
not
it's
be
a
able to...
404. Hold up.
Yeah, it's a 404.
No, this is different.
Then
this is different.
The website would not be able to tell the difference between a DDoS and just too many people checking the website, so...
Because that's what DDoS is.
Exactly.
But if it was too many people, it should be 429. 404 is strange, but let's wait.
So, because we can't ask...
you could overload the server and it just goes, nope.
Because we can't check the tracker right now, TTT Talker is asking which ships are being boarded. 3 ships have been intercepted for sure, but you can assume that all of them are being boarded. Most of them had an unclear status on the tracker, which means that they were most likely already being detained. Even if they weren't like specifically boarded, they were already being approached by the IDF. But at least 3 of them have definitely been intercepted, and virtually all of the others will be intercepted within the next couple of hours.
And best we could see from the live stream, the Aurora definitely got boarded.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if boarded. I think told would be the appropriate term.
Honestly, I'm
not nail.
I guess this is a good thing that I am slightly surprised. Because usually, like, what's been done 3 times since the start of the summer were individual Freedom Flotilla ships going to Gaza and getting intercepted. And usually those had quite high-profile celebrities on them, so it's extremely easy to just grab that one boat and arrest everyone on board and not have too much of a problem with that. With 50 ships going to Gaza, I kind of expected the IDF to pick a ship that didn't have any high-profile people and just actually strike that one the way the U.S. Navy struck ships and boats in the Caribbean, as a way of like telling the other ships, hey, you better turn around or this is going to happen to you too. I kind of expected that to happen, especially with the oh, these are actually Hamas-funded terrorists rhetoric that they were deploying to smear the flotilla.
Also, in some good news, from 10 minutes ago, Italy's largest union announces general strike, open-ended general strike, over handling of the flotilla. So, yeah, these things have consequences. And
2 questions in chat.
site is back up, by the way.
In TikTok chat. Number 1 is, what do they do with the ships after they kidnap everyone? I'm not sure if they... Oop, the website is broken.
Is glitched. Somebody could... This is not a DDoS. Somebody cut off the connection between the site and the server. I don't know why. It could be the Sumud people themselves.
Okay.
But it also seems like something that
What's the name of
To
the?
the value food.
What's the name of the? It was the Madeleine. Madeleine. Let me see if the Madeleine is still detained, or if it's been returned by Israel. What's the vessel finder?
Okay. I'm gonna go grab myself some food too.
Okay.
So I'll be back in a couple minutes. But yeah.
Mm. I don't know enough about tracking ships to know exactly if the IDF has returned them. Yeah, that's actually a good question. I'll have to do some research off stream to figure that out exactly. Then there was another question in chat. Oh yeah, the other question was why don't they just continue and ignore the IOF? Because the IOF has guns, lots of them. So that's not ideal. And even if they're not using their weapons, the IDF can absolutely just physically intercept the ship and tow it, even if the Freedom Flotilla boats don't want that to be the case. Then there were other questions. Your advice on how to discuss pro-Palestine position without aligning yourself with Nazis or Islamists. Just prioritize human rights. It's to me it's really not complicated. These issues are way less complicated than people want to make them. It's just about human rights. And you know, neo-Nazis don't really care about human rights. They just care about hating Israel and the Jews. Islamists have their own priorities that not always, but in a lot of ways, do align with the same, like, with similar dogmatic views as, okay, the tracker is really broken, as the neo-Nazis, but in a slightly different direction. If you just are consistent on believing in human rights for everyone, you don't have to align yourself with people who don't believe that. And it's not that complicated. And you can use that, what's the word I'm looking for? You can use that test or that compass on basically any political issues. Virtually every political issue, whether it's an economic policy or anything else, has a human rights angle to it. And so it's just a matter of being consistent on that human rights angle. Maybe some political issues don't really have a human rights angle, or maybe like the who is hurt and who is harmed by one outcome or the other isn't super clear on the human rights front, in which case you can start to think about other aspects of it. But as far as I'm concerned, like, the number one thing is just look at the human rights position, look at how many people are harmed in one way or the other, and why are they harmed, and how it affects the other groups and all of that. And that's a easy way to figure out 98% of political issues.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
I was someone was asking how to be pro-Palestine without aligning yourself with Nazis or Islamists, and I was just saying
Yeah,
human
that's
rights.
a pretty good answer. As a general rule, the question you should be asking is this going to hurt or improve the lives of people affected? That's about it. Also, when it comes to Nazis and people that keep in mind, as much as fascism presents itself as a political ideology, it's not. They will say whatever they think would get them elected or in power. So don't put too much thought in what Nazis said, as long as you have solid evidence that somebody's a Nazi.
I love that the
Tell them
question
to
keeps
fuck
popping
off.
up of when do they get there? They don't get there. Are they moving? No, they've been stopped by the blockade. They're not getting there. You look at these people right here, hands up, they're being boarded. And that's the case with basically all of the ships. The tracker's broken, so we can't keep a clear list of how many ships have been effectively intercepted, but essentially all of them are being intercepted and will be intercepted. None of them are going to make it to Gaza, unfortunately. They're 15 hours away. If they were left alone, I think they would.
I can probably walk 100 kilometers in 15 hours.
I
Their
mean,
own
yeah. If
ships.
they're
That'll
going
be
at a snail's
fine.
pace, then yeah. Basically, they would have been there by morning if they had been left alone, but they weren't left alone, unfortunately. How long are they staying there?
We have
Well, that
nowhere.
depends on what Israel does with them. In past cases of earlier in the summer, it was just most people were detained for a few days and then sent back to their home countries. I think one or two people were kept for longer and kind of disappeared before eventually being sent back after a longer period of time. In this case, because Israel has done a big media campaign of labeling this flotilla a pro-terrorist organization, that there's a good chance that they're going to be detained for longer than that, unfortunately.
Somebody in YouTube chat, Ventulo Gold, I guess, says why. This is actually the most interesting question here because there are two options. Well, there are three options. Option one, the easiest option, is Israel is so pissy and unwilling to admit that they're absolutely massacring people that they'll just try to fuck with everybody who points to the obvious. Option two is that they believe that the minuscule amount of aid these people who deliver can screw with their plans, which would be weird. But option three, which I think is the most likely, they do not want to let anybody with any possible reach get to Gaza to show the people what's going on there. Because I suspect that when we get proper full-on details from the ground, a lot more people will struggle to have a pro-Israel position. Because, well, probably to most people in this chat, it's rather obvious what they're doing. You have to remember, your grandma, your uncle, your friends have a life to live and don't pay this much attention to this. And they are the people most likely to change their opinion if images of what is probably children being bombed start being even more widely shown than they already are. So
There's
yeah.
a question that I don't understand here. Is Israel role-playing Canada and thinking Geneva Convention are a Geneva checklist? I don't understand what that means.
A fellow enjoyer of World War One and World War Two history. As much as the Canadians are lovely people, every time they go to war, they really go with the motto "It's not a war crime the first time" and do some crazy shit that's not okay. The Canadians have a penchant for taking it way over the edge when they are at war.
Oh, good to know. I did not know about that bit of lore. Someone is asking, you think the parliamentary representatives will be kept there for a long time? Elected officials, probably not. Although Rima Hassan, who's a French member of the EU Parliament, who's of like French Palestinian, might be singled out and targeted a little bit more than the others, but in the same way that like diplomats have a level of protection in when they're in the country that they're assigned to, I would assume that there's like some kind of level of immunity for elected officials. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll have to see. I'm not saying that Israel is definitely going to arrest people for longer than the last flotillas. I also think Israel is annoyed at having to deal with this, and they're probably going to want to up the pressure to prevent this from happening again, I guess. So yeah, generally my take is I can speculate, but at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Also, to a certain extent, Israel doesn't want to hold members of EU Parliament too long, because the public opinion in Europe is shifting by a lot and
I think
quickly.
the public opinion in Europe has already shifted a lot, yeah, unfortunately for Israel.
Yeah, so whenever if the headlines start popping, Israel illegally arrests member of EU Parliament, that's not gonna do them any favors.
We still haven't had time to even start reading the 20-point plan. Okay, at this point it looks like the flotilla
Is gone.
yeah, is basically gone, so we can keep the video open in a corner. But unless I want to stream until 2 a.m., I guess we can start reading the quote-unquote peace plan that was proposed by the Trump admin. Seize the means there's a 0 chance of this happening. There's a 0 chance they will arrest someone with diplomatic immunity. Well, I don't know if members of the EU Parliament technically have
They've already
diplomatic
done it
immunity.
twice.
But I think there's definitely a higher threshold for Israel to detain an elected member of parliament for longer than for a long period of time. Anyway, I'm going to lower the volume on this. We'll keep an eye out. We'll keep an eye on it. But Triion, do you want to stay on to read these 20 points, or what do you want to do?
Sure, let's lose whatever I have of my brain cells.
Okay.
I think I have another 15 to 20 minutes in me, because then my code will be compiled and I'll have to go back to work.
Okay.
But
so,
until then,
let's go over this. So these are the 20 points that were proposed as the peace plan by the Trump administration. Before we start this, it's worth noting that Palestinians, neither the Palestinian Authority nor any representative for Gaza or Hamas were involved in negotiating this. This was just negotiated between the US and Israel. So that's already not a great starting point, if you ask me. So, starting with point number 1, Gaza will be a de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors.
and immediately the question, hey, what do you mean to how are you going to achieve it, pops up.
That is going to be the question that we're going to be asking for every single one of these points, because none of these are elaborated. Like,
logical,
this is
reasonable.
not a summary. Just let me be clear. This is not a summary of the deal. This is the 20-point plan published in full. This is the entire text. Their solution, hey, we are going to de-radicalize Gaza. Good job, problem solved. We can go home, guys. We de-radicalized it. You know? Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is the one that drives me crazy as well, because this is going to tell you, like, we're only getting started, and it's not a great starting point. Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza who have suffered more than enough. What the fuck does this mean? Redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza is like the vaguest language that I've ever heard. Like, this is what you would say if you were to completely gentrify Gaza and turn it into like the high-end neighborhoods of Dubai or something.
That's what I was gonna point out, especially the phrasing "people of Gaza"
Yeah, which people of
doesn't
Gaza?
really clarify, which people that is. Knowing Israel's habit of, let's call it settling, that is a dodgy statement because
Also,
at least say Palestinians.
they say Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefits, but yeah, okay, but redeveloped by who? If both
Mexico's gonna
sides
pay for
agree
it,
to this
obviously.
proposal, the war will immediately end. Problem solved, guys. We're all going home. Israeli forces will withdraw. Like it feels like this was actually written on a napkin by Trump himself, thinking, "I have
I
a
think
galaxy brain. I'm gonna solve this."
I
So if
think it's
both,
something
go ahead.
in that case where he was like saying, "Hey, just do this," and somebody was typing in the background and like
Hmm.
they're phrasing it to sound semi-reasonable. I think everybody at some point in their career had a boss who's just gone and told you do this, and then you had to actually figure out how to do it. I think this is that.
So if both sides agree to this proposal, the war will immediately end. Israeli forces will withdraw to the agreed upon line. What's the
Where
agreed
is
upon
that?
line? To prepare for a hostage. Wait, I think my computer crashed.
You're still alive, as far as I can see. Say something.
I think yeah. Okay, never mind. I think I'm still live. My browser crashed and the video
I
crashed.
can hear you. I don't know. Yeah, YouTube is frozen.
YouTube is. Can you see the mouse moving?
Uh, yes.
Okay. Yeah, there's a more than zero chance that my computer is just gonna blue screen in the next few minutes. In which case, I probably won't continue the live stream. But hopefully it just starts working again. So
Patreon ad barely informed people so we can get this person a computer that actually works.
I mean, this is a quite new computer. Well, I mean, it's 2 years old now, which is still fairly new, but yeah, it should work. If both sides, I mean, the problem is I'm also like running um, two separate live stream softwares at the same time. So and this YouTube window and all of the open tabs and everything. So it's not surprising that my computer struggles from time to time. Anyway. If both sides agree to this proposal, the war will immediately end. Israeli forces will withdraw to the agreed upon line. What the hell does the agreed upon line mean? To prepare for a hostage release. Okay, we're back. During this time, all military operations, including aerial and artillery bombardment, will be suspended, and battle lines will remain frozen until conditions are met for the complete staged withdrawal.
This is rather important as this is the first time in writing we have confirmation of somebody that Israel has been artillery striking Gaza. We know they have, but they have denied it. The point is that there is never a reason to artillery strike against terrorist organizations because then you're definitely hitting civilians. Because artillery isn't a targeted weapon, it's a to who it may concern type of explosion. So that's the only important bit of this because otherwise it doesn't really say anything.
Within 72 hours of Okay, one of the live streams just went down. Within 72 hours of Israel publicly accepting this agreement, all hostages, alive and deceased, will be returned. Okay, there's not much to say there. I
Except that
think it's
Hamas
interesting
haven't
that it's
agreed to this, so
within 72 hours of Israel accepting this agreement. It says nothing of who else is accepting, like of Hamas accepting the agreement. But okay. Once all hostages are released, Israel will release 250 life sentence prisoners plus 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th, including all women and children detained in that context. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans. So the interesting thing here is that in all previous hostage exchange deals, it was always a matter of simultaneous release, where Israel and Hamas released them at the same time. And in this case, they're saying Hamas has to do it first and then Israel does it, which is, again, another symptom of the fact that no Palestinian was involved in negotiating this deal. And so what we're going to notice in basically all of these clauses is that is way more charitable to Israel than Gaza, despite the fact that the people of Gaza are the ones being genocided in this case.
Also, this implies there is a warehouse somewhere full of dead Gazans.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
just gonna leave
also.
that on the table and not comment on it because I don't know what to comment on that.
Once all
The
hostages are
implication here is that Israel agreed on this, which means that they have it.
yeah.
Terrifying though.
Once all hostages are returned, Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence and to decommission their weapons will be given amnesty. This is one of the ones that I thought was, if this is applied, would make this deal not the worst thing. Like, will make this deal slightly better than past deals. There's a few others that are coming up later down the list. But I was surprised that that Israel would agree to this. Members of Hamas who wish to leave Gaza will be provided safe passage, again, really surprising, to receiving countries. Upon acceptance of this agreement, full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza Strip. This is the thing that I was saying in the short earlier. I think this is the reason why the Navy escort ships were pressured to leave, because they don't want this aid delivery to go in, because this is essentially a hostage situation. They're starving the population of Gaza as a way to pressure Hamas to agree to this deal by saying, we will only give you aid after you agree to the deal. At a minimum, aid quantities will be
Can I
consistent.
comment something on this?
Go ahead.
As much as Hamas is a terrorist organization, they're also the government of the Gaza Strip because, well, they kind of murdered everybody who was before them. The thing is, we've been going about this for almost 2 years now. Or is it 1 year? I'm sorry. How long has this been going on?
Yeah, 2 years. It's going to be 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, it's going to be 2 years in
a week.
In a few days. Yeah. I have a question for you. Do you think that the sensible, reasonable people, like, because, Hamas, the military arm of Hamas is definitely a terrorist organization. That's not debatable. But there were people running hospitals, doing infrastructure, stuff like that, as best they could in there. Do you think they're still around? Do you think they're down here to negotiate this or to functionally, like, essentially implement this? By the time ISIS was getting wiped off the map, the elements in charge of ISIS was the most radical crazies left.
Mm-hmm.
Anything resembling a reasonable person was gone, dead, or shot. And I suspect that to an extent the same has happened to Hamas. I can't prove it, because if I could get to Gaza, this wouldn't be happening. But I doubt that at this point there is that many members of Hamas who are in anything resembling a position of power who are that caring of what happens. They are just going to fight to the end, because there's obviously radical elements within Hamas. So when they say, "Oh, we're gonna starve you to death," you're just making Hamas 2.0.
That might actually be part of the reason that Israel is ready to agree to this, because they know how unlikely it would be for anyone from Hamas to have like a coordinated response to it. Because as we're gonna see later, basically the deal says if anyone from Hamas gets within like a 10-foot radius of a weapon, then Israel has the right to flatten Gaza. Which is interesting because the reverse isn't true. There's no clause in here that says that Hamas has the right to attack Israel if Israel breaches the ceasefire on their side. It only goes in one direction, which is the crazy part of this deal.
The thing the reason I went on this tangent, I want to point out is, this is something I've been going on for a bit now. Believe it or not, Hamas are winning. Like, this is going to sound insane to you until I clarify the Palestinian people are losing their lives at an exceeding rate. But Hamas wants Palestine to be, Gaza to be free from Israel. All these recognitions and stuff that are happening, they are winning just at the cost of their own people.
Yeah,
because they are terrorists.
Is that the way they essentially... the result of October 7th, 2 years on, is that Israel has become a pariah state who is under more pressure to reach a real Israel has never been closer to collapse in terms of having to cave to demands that it used to say would never be negotiable because of how isolated they're becoming on the world stage. And that is a direct result of what's happened on October 7th and what's been happening since. So, in that sense, yeah, as much as in the grand scheme of things, like all the videos that have come out of October 7th are hard to get behind. And everything that's been happening in Gaza is like horrible. I mean, I guess the question is like, Gaza is closer to being free than it has been in a long time. But how many Gazans are going to be left to enjoy that freedom is a
I
big question.
think the unfortunate fact might be that the West Bank is closer to being free than ever. I don't know about Gaza. But this is slightly off topic, but this is one of the reasons why why so much so hate Nazis. But be very careful when electing or supporting organizations who very radically insist on a point. There are people who are willing to sacrifice their own people for a political goal. And this is one of the reasons Israel handled this so badly. Your response to terrorism was the worst possible action. Did you think that Hamas' plan was October 8, go drop some bombs, go back home, cheerio? No, they were trying to spark a shitstorm, and it's hard for me to imagine a bigger shitstorm than this.
Like
To
the
answer
amount of
seize the
goodwill,
means,
the amount of support and goodwill Israel had on October 8th, and the fact that they've been able to completely destroy all of that goodwill is just a testament to how monstrous their response has been.
and to answer the seize the means question in YouTube chat, yes, Hamas is terrorist, but how are Republicans, Democrats, the Israel government not terrorists? The definition of a terrorist is somebody who's committing a violence for a political goal. And while I can see what you're trying to say, no, the government of Israel are just war criminals. That's what they are in this situation. They didn't start off well. I mean, this goes into the whole history of Israel-Palestine, but at least on October 8th, they didn't start off trying to murder people for a political goal. Everything after that, ooh. The Republicans and Democrats, that's a whole different topic that goes into US support of foreign state bullshit, and frankly speaking, the US supporting fascist regimes way too much, which is not the topic of today.
My position is that the word terrorist is functionally mostly useless.
These days, yeah. It's
in terms of like the definition is everyone has a different definition when they're using it. You can make the definition of terrorism apply to the Bush administration, to apply to definitely you can make it apply to the Israeli government. You can make it apply to a lot of people. But you can also say that under most commonly accepted definitions of terrorism applies to non-state actors. And if that's what you want to call terrorism as a way of making sure that it cannot be applied to the US government, to the Israeli government and all of that, then you also can't apply it to Hamas because Hamas is the state of Gaza. So by definition, they're not a terrorist state either. They're not a terrorist organization either. So like you can nitpick and say like, oh, this terrorist and that not terrorist. In most cases, like there are some cases where very clearly you can say like ISIS, okay, terrorist group, Al-Qaeda, terrorist group. When you get into organizations that actually have sovereignty over land, it becomes kind of functionally useless because every state engages in violence, and usually like every war has political goals behind it, and you can make that terrorism or not terrorism, basically.
I want to answer another question in chat where Ventuo God, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, says, can we at least agree it was the EU fault that this situation was made by the EU, UNGA, and UNSC? If you're talking about the particular Flotilla situation where Israel is allowed to just yoink a bunch of foreign country citizens who are delivering aid, yeah, you can blame the EU for that one. The entire situation, it's mostly Zionist Israel government and the US just dumping half the budget on him. That's mostly at fault. Don't get me wrong, the EU is not blameless in this. When you sit about and just watch people getting massacred, you are to an extent at fault. But it isn't the EU, the UNGA, or UNSC who started this, or how we got here. The
Marcus Human
history
is
of how
saying in
Israel and
TikTok chat,
Palestine.
every war has an economic goal behind it. Actually, that's true sometimes, but
Depends on the type of war.
like the Russia Ukraine war is not really economic. It's not really based in economics. If you want to call the Israel Gaza war a war, if arguably it's not because of how one-sided it is, but if you want to call it a war, it has no economic aspect to it other than the blockade on Gaza, which is only like a side issue in the reason Hamas launched October 7th. Mostly that I can, off the top of my head, it's going to be about land, it's going to be about sovereignty, it's going to be like economics can play a role, but I wouldn't say that it's the general rule. Were you gonna say something, Triion?
I was gonna answer something in chat, but I'll just type it out in chat.
Okay.
So we can continue reading, because otherwise we'll be here until
Yeah.
the flotilla reaches Gaza.
I mean, we're at point 7,
which
so we're
is
already a third of the way.
Unlikely.
So, upon acceptance of this agreement, full aid will be immediately sent into Gaza. At a minimum, aid quantities will be consistent with what was included in the January 2025 agreement regarding humanitarian aid, including rehabilitation of infrastructure, water, electricity, and sewage, rehabilitation of hospitals and bakeries, and entry of necessary equipment to remove rubble and open roads. Okay, that is kind of in terms of being slightly more specific than we will de-radicalize Gaza or we will redevelop Gaza. This one actually says some things. So, okay, fine. Entry of distribution and aid in the Gaza Strip. I guess distribution is like the people doing the distribution. Will proceed without interference from the two parties through the United Nations and its agencies and the Red Crescent, in addition to other international institutions not associated in any manner with either party. Opening the Rafah crossing in both directions will be subject to the same mechanisms implemented under the January 2025 agreement. Okay, this is a longer one. Okay, yeah, this is the interesting one. Gaza will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee. What the fuck does this mean? First of all, apolitical and governed are kind of
please find me this governing body that is apolitical. Where does that exist?
Who the fuck are you gonna find to be the apolitical Palestinian committee?
Hey guys, we've been gone for 2 years, but
we're neutral on this issue, you know? Responsible for delivering the day-to-day running of public services and municipalities for the people of Gaza. Also, I think this transitional governance body, they were also shopping. Oh yeah, they mention it later. Okay, we'll get to that. This committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts with oversight and supervision by a new international transitional body, the Board of Peace, which will... Oh, live stream ending in 5 minutes. Give me a sec, and I stop this. Okay. The Board of Peace, which will be headed and chaired by President Donald Trump, apolitical Palestinian Committee President Donald Trump, with other members and heads of states to be announced, including former Prime Minister Tony Blair. So, okay, leaving President Trump aside, the guy who was saying that he was supportive of essentially doing an ethnic cleansing of Palestine. Considering that all of the conflict between Israel and Palestine can be attributed to the British to begin with. The existence of Israel itself is kind of the fault of the Brits. Number one, considering that most of the instability for the last 100 years in the Middle East is the fault of the Brits and the French through the Sykes-Picot deal, and considering that Tony Blair himself is accused of war crimes for his involvement in the war on terror during the Bush years, maybe having former British Prime Minister Tony Blair being in charge of the Gaza Strip is not the smartest idea. Just putting that out there.
Here's my question. How did you end up with suggesting Tony Blair for this?
Wait, say that again?
Like, how did the name of Tony Blair come up in this conversation? How did they pick him? First of all, Tony Blair is a
I think Tony
leftist,
Blair has
so
been
Trump,
doing,
there's
like,
no way Trump likes him.
I think he's been doing philanthropic work-ish on the margins of politics since he left office, but yeah, like this is a completely idiotic, moronic idea. Yeah, someone is saying, which Palestinian is neutral after 2 years?
Yeah,
I think,
sorry,
first of all, it's
also-
been more than 2 years as well, if you count everything that's happened before October 7th, but especially after 2 years, which Palestinian is neutral is a fair question.
Also, I'm sorry, we're gonna find qualified Palestinians that haven't been airstrike bombarded, artillery stricken, shot, sniped, starved, blown a building on top of them. Have I missed anything? Do you think that this is type of situations,
none of
it's
their
the
families and
architects that make
children
it?
and wives and husbands and brothers and sisters
And
have that
friends.
happen to them too? Yeah, yeah. No, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
unlikely to find.
fascinating notion, because I don't know if you've watched any interviews of the few Gazans that have been able to talk about this. They don't sound very apolitical about this.
Yep. This body will set the framework and handle the funding for the redevelopment of Gaza until such time as the Palestinian Authority has completed its reform program. What reform program? As outlined in various proposals, including President Trump's peace plan in 2020, with the Saudi-French proposal, and securely and effectively take back control of Gaza. So essentially, we will impose on Gaza a government, a provisional, apolitical government led by President Trump and former Prime Minister war criminal Tony Blair. And then we're going to impose on them another Palestinian Authority government that they're not going to be able to vote for.
Also noted, until such time the Palestinian Authority has been able to take control of Gaza, take back control of Gaza. How? The Palestinian Authority does not have an army. They don't have an army. They don't have a police force.
Yeah,
What exactly are gonna they take control of Gaza? They're gonna walk in there and be like, "Hello, fuckos."
Presumably, so these would be Palestinian Authority people coming in from the West Bank, and like they're like
Right.
all of Gaza would be demilitarized and all of that, so there would be no need for an army in theory. But
So Hamas
still.
just gonna chill the fuck out, you know? Hamas who gonna be like, "Yeah, bro, I'm out." I know they mentioned it above in this agreement, but good luck.
this body will
How?
call on best international standards to create modern and efficient governance that serves the people of Gaza and is conducive to attracting investments. Again, super vague language. We will create modern and efficient governance standards. Cool.
And attract
talk.
investments. Because bombed out, desolate places with starving people are really where you want to make that bank for your buck.
A Trump economic development plan to rebuild and energize Gaza will be created by convening a panel of experts who have helped birth some of the thriving modern cities in the Middle East. Many through investment proposals and exciting development ideas have been crafted by well-meaning international groups and will be considered to synthesize the security and government frameworks to attract and facilitate these investments that will create jobs, opportunity, and hope for future Gaza. So this is the we will turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. Ah, shit, what did I do?
Calls for
I have one comment on this. Chad, have you ever been like to a work conference or like this is more specific to the IT industry, but a place where a startup or a small company is trying to pitch in their business plan and it's just like the same 30 buzzwords?
Yeah, I was thinking the
It's
same
like
thing. That these are just
we
like
shall get the
PowerPoint presentation
blockchain
buzzwords.
to, yeah. This is that. This is nothing. It doesn't. It is just we'll get the fancy thing that worked before to work again because we're the best and we have the smart people. I haven't checked, but I highly doubt there's a bunch of oil under Gaza, so we build Abu Dhabi there.
So
Just
a special economic zone will be established with preferred tariffs and access rates to be
oh, for
negotiated
fuck's
with. Okay, so this is more. We will turn this into the Gaza Riviera with a special economic zone. No one will be forced. So this is another one that I was slightly surprised by in a positive way, but it's like super vague language. No one will be forced to leave Gaza, and those who wish to leave will be free to do so and free to return. We will encourage the people to stay and offer them the opportunity to build a better Gaza. This says nothing except for the fact that they'll be free to leave and free to come back, which, if that is implemented, that sounds good on paper. But I would like to see more specifically how you plan to do that. Because like it's funny because all the things that are like, oh, this doesn't sound too bad, is always like one sentence, and every time it goes into a full paragraph, it's either complete gibberish or, oh my god, this is a terrible idea. Tony Blair, Donald Trump is going to be leading this.
just I wanna be present at a meeting between Tony Blair and Donald Trump for my own entertainment, not to do anything. Have a laugh.
Hamas and other factions agreed to not have any
Which
role in the
factions?
governance of Gaza, directly, indirectly, or in any form. All military, terror, and offensive infrastructure, including the tunnels and weapon production facilities, will be destroyed and not rebuilt. There will be a process of demilitarization of Gaza under the supervision of independent monitors, which will include placing weapons permanently beyond use through an agreed process of decommissioning and so blah blah blah. So this is the
Did
kind of stuff that
ChatGPT write this? There will be a
possibly
process of
partly.
demilitarization of Gaza under the supervision, which will include placing weapons permanently beyond use. So you're gonna destroy the weapons.
This is fairly standard for like this would be the kind of stuff that you would have heard in agreements like the deal that they had with Northern Ireland, or probably the kind of stuff involved in the Iran nuclear deal as well. But again, what I find baffling is that you have paragraphs like this about the infrastructure of Hamas, but the Gazans are the ones being
they'll
genocided.
just tell you where it is.
There is nothing like this about Israel. There's nothing like this saying, hey, like we are really going to make sure that there's no way Israel can actually attack Gaza again. None of that. It only goes in this direction, and that's the crazy part. New Gaza will be fully commissioned to building a prosperous economy and to peaceful coexistence with their neighbors, or else. A guarantee will be provided by regional partners to ensure that Hamas, see again, always in the same direction, and the factions comply with their obligation that New Gaza poses no threat to its neighbors or its people. There's, how many points are there left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points left. How many of these points do you think are going to be a guarantee that Israel can't do anything to Gaza?
Also, as Ricardo is pointing out in the chat, what the fuck is a New Gaza?
Yeah, I was also thinking that. The fact that it starts at the beginning of a sentence. Oh, no, here it's actually New Gaza, kind of like New York or New Hampshire or whatever. It's actually New Gaza, capital N, capital G. Earlier, I saw this at the start of a sentence, so I thought it was like just capitalized because of the beginning of the sentence. But no, they actually just want to call it New Gaza.
Look, God promised Argentina to the Palestinians 3,000 years ago. Okay, we can make this work.
The United States will work with Arab international partners to develop a temporary international stabilization force. Are they going to station the stabilization force in Israel or in Gaza, do you think?
Also, I need to clarify when the United States talk about its Arab partners, it's always Saudi Arabia. So just quick question, how many of you trust Saudi Arabia with human rights?
Fair enough, yeah. But like, how many of this international stabilization force is going to be deployed in Israel to monitor the fact that Israel
Yeah,
has
the
to
activities of the Israeli army.
it has to stand by this deal. As it's not even mentioned in the 20 points. The ISF, International Stabilization Force, will train and provide support to vetted Palestinian police forces in Gaza and will consult with Jordan and Egypt to have extensive expertise in this field. Again, what does this mean? This force will be the long-term internal security solution. Okay, good. This says nothing. The ISF will work with Israel and Egypt. Okay, so this is going to be like an Israeli-backed... no one is going to consider this to be a legitimate way to rule Gaza.
Oh. Also,
help
if
secure the
you
border
drop
areas.
me if you drop me some random police force I've never heard of, I think people will just attack that police force. And later on in that same paragraph says there'll be no munitions being sent to Gaza. So now that we're guessing that this newly minted surprising security force has sticks to protect themselves.
That's true. Like, yeah, okay. It is
what are we
critical to
doing?
prevent munitions from entering Gaza. Okay, what is the ISF going to have? And to
Sticks,
facilitate
clearly.
the rapid and secure flow of goods to rebuild and revitalize Gaza. A deconfliction mechanism will be agreed upon by the parties. Okay, so a lot of these are also like, we'll figure it out later, guys.
Yeah.
You have to agree to it now, but we'll figure it out later. Okay, this is one that is asking Israel to do stuff. Let's actually see what it says. Israel will not occupy or annex Gaza. So Israel has already said that they had no intention to abide by this. As the ISF establishes control and stability of the Israel Defense Force... Oh, sorry. My bad. I misread that and I was surprised. Actually, no, I'm not surprised. As the ISF establishes control and stability, the Israel Defense Force will withdraw based on standards, milestones, and timeframes linked to demilitarization, blah, blah, blah. So essentially, the ISF is going to replace the IDF, which makes sense because there's only one letter difference between those two acronyms, but they're going to be doing essentially the same thing, which is to occupy Gaza.
Yay.
And timeframes, the guarantors and the United States will, with the objective of a secure Gaza that no longer poses a threat to Israel, Egypt, or its citizens, practically the IDF will progressively hand over the Gaza territory it occupies to the ISF, according to an agreement they will make with the transitional authority until they are withdrawn completely from Gaza, save for a security perimeter presence that will remain until Gaza is properly secure from any resurgent terror threat. So they get to keep a security perimeter and keep their weapons and keep all of it, but Gaza does not, which is an insane deal. Like, you can tell from reading this paragraph that no Palestinian was involved in negotiating this.
Oh no, this document hasn't even been in the vicinity of a Palestinian. Yeah, one of the boats is being boarded on stream. By the way, sees the memes in chat asks, if free elections were held in Palestine after the war, do you think Hamas would win, or would left-wing parties have a chance? Do you think there's any left-wingers left in Palestine? Do you understand what happens to people when they get bombed?
I mean, the reality is like...
Everybody who's currently in Palestine is furious at Israel. So you want to win a free election in Palestine? Say I'm going to blow up the Senate.
Consider how many people outside of Gaza, just like in whatever country you're from, how many people have been radicalized by what Israel has done in Gaza. And imagine that times 1,000 for the people actually in Gaza who've been affected by it. Yeah, they've been quite seriously radicalized by what's been happening, arguably justifiably so. One of the boats is being pretty
Yeah,
violently towed right now.
I don't know what the hell's going on out there.
I think they've been towed, and they're just being dragged by an IDF boat.
It's... They're being dragged in the waterfall. What the hell is going on? I don't know what this is, but it doesn't seem accidental to me, and I hope everybody is fine. I hope it's just the idea of being a bit of full of bullshit.
In the event
Fantastic.
Hamas delays or rejects this proposal, the above, including the scaled-up aid operation, will proceed in the terror-free areas handed over from the IDF to the ISF.
This implies that Hamas still exists in some form, but the ISF have rocked up to Gaza. So why are the ISF not in Gaza at the moment?
An interfaith dialogue process will be established based on the values of tolerance and peaceful coexistence to try and change mindsets and narratives of Palestinians and Israeli, emphasizing the benefits that can be derived from peace. Now, obviously, this in the long term does need to happen. But again, all of the things that are like mildly positives have the shortest possible paragraph to this. Like, trust me, bro, we'll figure this out later. We don't need to think about this right now. Like, yes, there does need to be in the long term, we do need to think about an interfaith dialogue so that there is a long-term sustainable peace. I don't think it's something that needs to be hammered out right now or to be
the best way
to
do
this.
It's
completely meaningless when one of the sides is being genocided by the other.
Also, the best way to do this is to provide continuous long-term like economic stability and improvement to the people living there. This year marks 100 years since Bulgaria and Greece went to war over a dog. I'm not joking.
Really?
The reason we wouldn't go to war over... Yeah, it's called the dog war. You can all Google it.
The dog war. Okay.
The reason we wouldn't go to war today is because we've been living peacefully and having better lives for the last 100 years. Minor exception for World War II. And we figured out that we don't need to fight over a dog. It's fine. Like, the point is that as long as one side has functional city electricity, water and everything, and the other one is starved to death and bombed, it's gonna take a century to solve this. And this shoddy attempt from Trump to get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize isn't gonna cut it. Like, this is, you know how sometimes movies get released and completed in December, so they can apply it in January, and like you can see the shoddy editing. So in January they can apply for the Oscars. This is that. We didn't figure anything out, to write something else so I can be mentioned.
I'm just gonna finish the last 2 points and then I'm gonna make my conclusion on this basically. So while Gaza redevelopment advances and when the PA reform program is faithfully carried out, what PA reform program that you mentioned multiple times without even having a dedicated point about it, the conditions may finally be in place for a credible pathway of Palestinian self-determination and statehood, which we recognize as the aspiration of the Palestinian people. Okay, yeah, I mean, long-term, this is not a bad thing, but again, shortest possible paragraph. The United States will establish a dialogue between Israel and Palestine to agree on a political horizon for peaceful and prosperous coexistence. So the same thing as this, basically. So the thing is, okay, unironically, I'm not even joking here. You know why this point is here? You know why the last point that's only 2 lines is there, even though it repeats exactly the same thing as point 18?
To make it 20, to make it a round number.
I'm not joking. I'm 100% sure that's the case. I am 100% sure they had 19 points, and they were like, it needs to be 20. We need to find something else to say, and they just like randomly repeated the same thing as the points they had earlier.
Look, we've all had to write an essay at some point in our lives and had to flub the word count.
Yeah. So my take on this is that this is a mix between Trump wanting to redevelop Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East and Trump wanting a Nobel Peace Prize. And he just wrote down his ideas on a napkin for both of those goals. And you can tell that the real estate you can tell that he's a real estate developer and not a human rights expert, because all the Nobel Peace Prize clauses are like 3 lines long, and all the real estate developments have a full paragraph about how they're going to create jobs and opportunity and redevelop it with an investment scheme with a special economic zone and all of that.
I mean, the only thing to add to what you say, I think, is that this shows that Israel is feeling under enough pressure to pretend that they're offering some peace deal so they can then say, oh, Hamas rejected it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you're pretty spot on. I think this happened over a not so appealing dinner in Mar-a-Lago a week ago, and there was a stenographer in the background figuring out the details as we go, because Mr. Definitely Didn't Have a Stroke was blabbing on about some bullshit, and Benji Boy was in the corner, oh, do this, do this, do this. It's just, yeah, no, I don't know. It's just, this is not worth the paper it was written on, let alone the pixels it's taking on our screens right now.
So the tracker is back up, but I'm not getting the impression that they're really updating it because only 3 boats are still marked as having been intercepted, which clearly we can tell that's not the case.
It depends where it's being operated from, because if the people on the boats are operating, I think they're
there's no way
mildly
the people on the boats are
preoccupied at the
operating
moment.
this in the same way that the live stream is being operated remotely. I'm pretty sure the tracker is being operated remotely, but I'm pretty sure that the people that they have working on this are busy with other things that they're not.
Yeah, they're probably on phones trying to get lawyers right now,
exactly,
or trying to get
so that's why this is not
somebody
up
to
date.
go there and confirm that these people are at the very least alive.
Yep.
So yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day on that because I do hope to work on a summary short on the 20-point plan now that we've actually read through it. So I'll probably have that later this week. And I also wanted to finish another actual full YouTube video that I'm probably going to be working on tomorrow because it's getting late. So yeah, I'm going to call it a day for today. Thank you for joining, everyone. For those watching on TikTok, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/barelyinformed is the best way to do that. If not, there's
you have a
coffee page, there's other donation possibilities. There's also a YouTube, what's it called? YouTube super thanks, stuff like that. I appreciate every help that comes by because I have to admit, I have to say that I was really, really struggling in previous months. This is the first month that I actually have enough from video revenue that I can put a little bit of money aside to either pay back the mounting bills that I was having piling up or to put some money aside for next month's rent. So for the first time in over a year, for the first time in about a year and a half, I'm actually doing fine, but I'm worried that this was a one-off and that this was a fluke month. So if you do want to support the channel, if you like what I do, if you want to help me do more of it, if you want to help me hire people to help me do more of it, which is very much needed, any help that could come, especially if it's like regular monthly help like Patreon, is highly appreciated because I can't really build something based on luck of 1 month going really, really well without knowing that the next month is happening. Like, for example, this month, if I could get the same amount of money as I did this month, every month on a regular basis, I would be able to hire someone basically full-time to work with me and to make more content. But I don't know if next month is going to be like that, so I can't offer anyone a job as long as I don't know for sure that I have a level of stability that allows for that. So any amount of help that you can bring to the channel is highly appreciated. And if you can't afford to, that's totally fine. Just watching the videos, commenting, liking, and sharing them is already a huge amount of help. So Triion, thank you for joining. Everyone else,
no worries.
Thank you for joining and thank you for watching.
Just to have my closing remarks,
Yep,
and
sure,
if you
go
want
for it.
to hear me try to be the comic relief of the horrid situation we are experiencing, still give him money on Patreon so he streams more often and has time to do that. I come for free. I'm just, annoying. Have a good evening, everybody, and see you, Stan. I'm gonna drop now.
Have a good evening, everyone. See you later.